We're live. It's hump day. Boxing fan. Speaking to other boxing fans about how we can further our agenda as boxing fans, doing it unabashedly, doing it unapologetically. Lead the Fanager talking points at the door. This is no Fanager zone. On that note, happy Wednesday. Let's go. It's Wednesday, April 5th. Took the day off yesterday for my birthday, and now we're back at it. I've been chomping at the bit to get back behind this beautiful blue microphone. Duval Grind MMA is in the building. Catch weight on top of rehydration. That is wild, and it sure is. It sure is. And that doesn't exactly scream security, does it? It doesn't exactly scream, I'm confident in myself. Yeah, but Calix, he's the A side. He's the A side, so he gets to do whatever he wants. He's the A side, so he can call for 136 and, 10-pound rehydration clause because he's the man. He's the man, so Canelo can fight on the zone, right? No. Canelo's a different thing. Canelo's free agent. He got to go over there. Blah, 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 blah. Shout out OJ22, and I want y'all to do two things for me, or a couple of things for me. I can't count. Hit the like button. And also, when you come in the chat, make sure you make yourself known in the chat. Let's get the chat going. And I'm going to get to all the comments today, like I did on the last show. And also, I could be throwing out the link today. We'll see. Never seen a catchweight fight with the rehydration. This is the new age, Duval. And, I've been told this is right. This is a new age. It's the golden era of boxing. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that we have 17 weight classes to choose from. 18 if we're counting Bridger weight, the weight that D-Style loves, named after the kid that got eaten by the pit bull. Doesn't matter. You got 17 weight classes to pick from. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just make up your own weight class. 136. 136. And it stays true to the Tank theorem. And they got mad at me. For a couple of years now, I've been talking about, I think 3 years now, I've been talking about the Tank Davis theorem. It's don't compete in a weight class. Like, don't campaign in a single weight class. Don't do it. And on top of that, when people call you out, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful game to play. Don't campaign in a single weight class and say belts don't matter. And we'll talk about that as well, because when it comes to Tank versus Ryan, belts don't matter. It just don't matter. It just doesn't matter. They don't matter. Belts are, they're overvalued. Belts are the thing of the past. Then they'll say, yeah, Canelo needs to put up his belts against Benavidez. I thought belts don't matter. Benavidez, he doesn't need to be a champion because he's the people's champ. Belts don't matter. He's the people's champ that does $49,000 pay-per-view buys. He's the people's champ. Belts don't matter until they do. But you don't campaign in a single weight class. That way you're a chameleon, right? 130, 135, 140. You can't spot me. I'm over here. No, I'm over here now. I'm over here. No, I'm over here now. Not at 140. Regis. You got to understand something. I'm not a 140-pounder. Then he'll fight. He'll say, I'm a 135-pounder. 135-pounders call him out. Handy Lomachenko. No. I'm actually fighting at 136. It's this new division that I created out of thin air. And on top of that, I'm going to fight the rehydration clause and make sure the naturally bigger guy can't rehydrate. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful game to play, and the casuals don't care. They don't mind it. And it just doesn't matter. How much credit does Tank get if he beats Garcia after all these stipulations? Ops from South Africa. Shout out to South Africa. Never been, but I would love to go. I don't know. I guess we got to see after the fight plays out how it plays out. I'll give him credit, but the thing is, when it comes to Tank versus Ryan, I don't expect one of these fighters to take the ball and run with it. I don't expect them to go on this long, prolonged run where, they fight a Devin Haney-Lomachenko winner, or they move up to 140 and fight a Regis. I just don't expect that type of run. They might fight each other 2 or 3 times and do a little TikTok battle, right? Little Instagram battle. They might even fight on Instagram Live. Who knows? They're Instagram fighters. I don't know. And I want the traditionalists not to get bent out of shape about these fighters selling pay-per-views and selling more pay-per-view buys than Lomachenko Haney, because it's the exception to the rule. One, and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube stars have proven that they can sell. Jake Paul against Fredo Fury. They can sell. Those guys sell when they fight each other. They just do. And I don't know how long that'll last. If it's something that's going to stick around, I don't know. But don't get bent out of shape about it. Why didn't he make 135 fights so he can't fight for a belt? Shakur about to steal Tank's cookies. Let me tell y'all something. Leave Tank alone. Leave him alone. Leave Tank alone. It's not right. He's a 3-division champion. He's the best. He's one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the sport. Leave Tank alone. Leave him alone. He's the A-side. He's the new face of boxing. Forget that he only sells 200,000 pay-per-view buys at maximum. He is the face of boxing. Leave him alone. He's the face of boxing. Why is he the face of boxing? Because I said so. That's why. He's the face of boxing. I don't need receipts as to why. He's the face of boxing. Leave Tank alone. He's the greatest power puncher we've ever seen. Forget that he only punches per round on average and is the most economical fighter in the sport. Leave Tank alone. That's the Tank fans. You can't say anything. And yes, the guy who may be the king of 135 a year from now, a year and a half from now, is fighting his first 135-pound fight this weekend. And we'll see how he looks there. And to be fair, to be level-headed about it, Shakur Stevenson didn't exactly look great in his last fight. I've been driving the Shakur Stevenson bandwagon for years now. Last fight, I was kind of turned off. Missed weight. Didn't exactly look great. Didn't get the stoppage. And it made me rethink, maybe 135, maybe if he moves up, he'll be different. Or maybe at 135, he's not cutting down to 130. Maybe he'll look better. But Shakur Stevenson is one of those guys, and we'll start to find out this weekend that you put him in there with the Haney-Lomachenko winner, you can say, I can see him beating that guy. I can see him beating Tank. I can see him beating Ryan. I can see him beating Pitbull. I can see him beating Zepeda. There's a reason those guys don't want to fight him. That's all I'm saying. Why didn't he just make it a 135 fight? I already read that one. I don't know why. I have to assume that, to me, rehydration clauses, catch weight, on top of a rehydration clause screams insecurity. So when people ask me, aren't you worried about Ryan coming in less than 146 and being weight drained and all this stuff? Yeah. But what I'm also concerned about is, why does this team seem so insecure about this guy that this is his first step up in and around 135? His career turned a decade last month, and he only has one real belt on his record. And he doesn't have too many top 5 wins. I think one. There's a reason that that's so. And on top of that, there's a reason they threw poison pill after poison pill after poison pill in this Ryan Garcia deal. And Ryan Garcia accepted all of them. So I'm reading into that and saying Ryan Garcia really wanted this fight, and Tank's team not as much. Doesn't look as much. I don't know what else to read into that. And on top of that, are they that insecure about this guy that they have to put all those stipulations in the clause? Maybe I'm reading too much into it. All I'm saying is it goes both ways. It cuts both ways. Yeah, you're the A side. You can flex. Flex. I don't blame Tank's team for doing it. All I'm asking is why are they doing it? I'm told this dude's been, I'm told he's that dude. So why do it? Why the F did I pay for Ramirez tickets? They was free, like PBC. Leave the PBC alone. Let me tell y'all what Nando's talking about here. So I think this is the screenshot here. Let me take down Nando's comments so y'all can see it in full. This is the box office report. And what this guy does is he gives box office reports. He looks into the numbers. He finds them. And this is from yesterday, March 25th, Save Mart Center. Jose Ramirez versus Richard Comey. Now, why is this a big deal? It's a big deal because Rick Maurizian was saying, why would he fight Regis Prograis when we can go to our hometown and sell 15,000 tickets, sell it out, make $1 million+ live gate? We're a star. Jose Ramirez is a star. He's a star. We don't have to like fighting Prograis beneath us. You got to understand this is a business. It's a business. This is beneath us. Fight titles for less money. This is beneath us. So what happens? The live gate does $306,000. For those of you who don't, and there's a reason I'm going here. I don't like talking about business, but there's a reason I'm going here, and it pertains to the sport. 306,000 is just not good. Tickets sold 4,000. Exempt passes. What exempt passes means is comped. It was comped. PBC, by the way, is known for this. PBC will throw an event in Minnesota. They won't promote it, and they'll do like 51,000 live gate. Morrell Jr. will do numbers like that. Stephen Fulton Jr. There's a reason Stephen Fulton Jr. is going to Japan to fight. It's because his live gates are atrocious. He do like 60,000 live gates. They're just the arena. They'll have 4,000 to 6,000 people in Minnesota, and it'll be packed and it'll be off the charts. Nice atmosphere, but all those people are getting in for free. The capacity for this event was 14,000, and they sold 4,000. So they comped the building. 9,000 comps. 9,000. Okay, so I retweet this yesterday, and there's another reason. This is a teachable moment for people out there, because when you're on Twitter and you have a bit of a voice on Twitter, what happens is the boxing power brokers will push back on you, right? And they've done it before when I've criticized pay-per-views, and now they're doing it here. So Rick Maurizian, and this is Rick Maurizian, this Jose Ramirez manager, and he says, "You're a clown." Talking to me. Every free ticket had a concession points. Fortune 100 and 500 companies you saw in fight had bull tickets in their 100,000 to 200,000 packages. One person bought 30 tickets for 50K in a deal. Can somebody please tell me who this one person is? This person doesn't exist, but if this person does exist, please give me his information, because I have stuff that I would love to sell him, because that dude is dumb. Can't expect an idiot like you to get it. Talk shit after you have your facts. So this is hilarious in many ways. It's because this is what they do. And we've spoken about this. I don't need to know. Like, I have a foundation as a boxing fan at this point. I don't need to know what's going on behind the scenes. And they'll trick you into thinking that you do. They'll trick you into thinking, oh, things are too complex, and you're just not going to get it as a boxing fan. There's a reason we have rehydration clauses, rematch clauses, and catch weights. And there's a reason, these things take, and they're so delicate. They're so delicate. Oh, my God, they're so delicate. You just don't get it. As a boxing fan, you just don't get how delicate things are and how hard we're working behind the scenes and why these things take so long to make. So a guy like Rick Maurizian, who I don't have a problem calling out, because I'm not worried about it getting interviews with fighters. I'm perfectly fine sitting here as a boxing fan with 21 people in the chat just talking about boxing. I'm a boxing fan. I'll get 300, 400 people in the archive, and that's fine with me. I'm a boxing fan talking about boxing. I'm not interested in getting the interviews. I'm not interested in talking to the fighters. I'm not interested in talking to this dude, especially. But when he said, first of all, can these dudes please spell your correctly? You're a clown. Every free ticket, I don't care about concession points. Fortune 100 and 500 companies. This dude is just throwing out gibberish. He wants me to, he thinks I'm going to hear Fortune in 100 and 500 companies. But I messed up. I got it wrong. Fortune 100, you're right. Fortune 100 and 500 in their tier, in their 100 and 200K packages. One person bought 30 tickets for, no, he didn't. That person doesn't exist. And if that person exists, please tell me who that person is, because he's dumb enough to buy anything. That dude is dumb enough to buy land for me in Antarctica. That dude is dumb enough to buy a bridge for me in Brooklyn. 30 tickets for 50K in a deal. 100 to 200K packages. This is hilarious. And they'll just throw it out there like it's more complex. We're dumb. We're dumb boxing fans. We simply don't have our facts, and we're clowns. But then this is fun. This is fun. This is when it gets really fun. He responds to another boxing fan, just a boxing fan online. F-boy number 2. We sold tickets for $5,000, $2,500, and $1,250 direct to companies. Sad people like you exist and can't tie your shoe in the morning. Why this is funny is you have a dude like this representing you. And then a dude like this representing you will get gullible boxing fans who tend to side to Jose Ramirez because, dudes will do that. They'll be fanagers. But they'll get these dudes to believe anything. They'll get these dudes to believe that they actually sat down with Regis Prograis' team. They actually sat down with them and tried to make and structure a deal before they went with the Comey fight. And they actually got people to believe on ES News, Ellie Seckbach reporting, they'll actually get people to believe, no, we're not going to fight Comey. We're not going to fight. And then they fight Comey. And you have a dude representing you like this who will throw this word around. 2023 social media. You'll have a manager out there throwing this word around like it's nothing. And this was the second time, and he deleted it, of course. But he'll start, dude, why are you bent out of shape with boxing fans? Just ignore it. Or, better idea, if you're that bent out of shape about what boxing fans are saying, we're not journalists out here, we're simply boxing fans. Just throw out the live gate number. If the live gate number is really not 300,000, if you didn't comp 9,000 people, just give receipts as to, we didn't comp 9,000 people. We actually did a live gate of 750,000, 1.5 million, whatever the real number is, throw it out there. Instead of saying, no, the real number is not 300,000, this is the actual number in a level-headed fashion. It's literally all he had to do. Instead of doing that, he throws out F-boy number 2. We sold tickets for $5K, $2,500, and $1,250 direct to company. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you sold tickets for $5,000, $2,500, and $1,250 direct to companies. I'm sure you did. Sad people like you exist and can't tie your shoe in the morning. You shouldn't have dudes like this representing you who are just going to go bash boxing fans who just simply boxing fans who are on Twitter are passionate about the sport and they want to, follow the sport, and you're going to bash them like this. But you certainly shouldn't be using this term and be representing a fighter. Like if I was a fighter and I saw this, what do you think? What do you think? I'd be trying to get out that contract. Like if this dude's representing me as a fighter and I see this, get me out of that contract. But that's where we're at. But they'll make it sound like it's more complex than it actually is. And it's not. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. I don't know what to tell you. Let's see what we got as far as the chat. I give him no credit. I didn't give Manny credit for the Cotto fight. Why? Duval, you didn't give him credit for the Cotto fight? Come on. You're going too far. Shout out Logan Little. Will they try to achieve something in the sport or just cash out with this insane pay-per-view price? And did I put that? Let me see. This is the undercard. Once again, let me take this. And I'm going to get to the comments in a minute. This is the undercard for Tank versus Ryan. Morrell Jr., who is the boogeyman, as we know, right? He's the new boogeyman, versus Cena Ekbeko. Gabe Rosado versus Beck the Bully, which I'm fine with that fight, to be quite honest. Elijah Garcia versus Kevin Salgado. And you got an $85 price point. So after tax, you're going to be paying about, a bill. And this is the undercard. And there's two ways to look at this. And we've talked about this in the past. Do you stack undercards or do you just put them on whatever? Because I've been there for big fights where they stack the undercard. Casuals just don't care. They're not watching it. They don't care. But to me, a big fight, if this truly is a super fight, a big fight, it's a good opportunity to expose somebody that you want to expose to the public. And to me, this right here is just kind of messing that up. I don't know. They promised us Boots on this undercard. He's not there. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. But this is the undercard. That's the undercard we're getting for $85. Rehydration division, doping tests clauses are okay though, and dudes are failing drug tests like crazy. And you know what my reaction to that is? I don't care. I don't care. Let the dudes fight. You're never gonna get to the bottom of that. The undercard sucks too for $85. Where's Finito Lopez, Julian Jackson, Gerald McClellan, and Terry Norris? It's a different day in boxing. See why. And I've been told it's the golden age of boxing. These fighters beat everybody since the beginning of time because they're so athletic. But this is a new boxing. Shakur is taking Tank's shine. We shall see. I think folks are underestimating Ryan and his motives. Mentioned yesterday he wants Haney next if he wins. Folks still doubt him. And Nando, I've said that, like, Ryan wanted to fight 3 times at least in 2022. Now I got to be careful. Like, I don't want to make it out to thinking this dude is having some sort of Damascus Road moment where he's just going to completely do a 180. But what I do see is him signaling that, you know what? I took too long off there. I rubbed some people the wrong way. Let me try to make up for things. And he jumped through every single hoop to get that Tank fight. That's undeniable at this point. If there is somebody to give credit for, if you love this fight, Tank versus Ryan, if there's somebody to give credit for making that fight, is Ryan. He's the main one. He jumped through every hoop. He swallowed every poison pill. He said 136 with a 10-pound rehydration clause. It's lame. It makes you look insecure. I'll take it. Whatever. And he made the fight. And he's going to fight the fight. And he's saying the right things about what happens after the fight. We'll see. We'll see. Time will tell on that. But what I do know is this dude wants this fight. And what I do know is one guy is sort of looking insecure when we see the contract, and one guy is looking very secure. One guy is looking very confident. The other guy, not so much. The other guy's team, not so much. Because you can say, yes, Tank needs to use his leverage to get everything out of the deal. But with other fighters in other contracts, other fighters would have said, and other promotional agents would have said, no, I'm not dealing with that. 136, catch-weight clause. Rematch clause where I got to fight on your turf again. No, I'm not doing that. Ryan's doing it. I'm not underestimating Ryan. I'm just giving Tank no credit. And the thing is, I'm betting Ryan. I'm betting Ryan at plus 230. I am. I think he's undervalued there. And I'm on record as saying that HLD, shout out to you, beats up the most economical fighters. I've read people say, why is Ryan challenging Haney? What if he loses the Tank? Who gives a damn if he loses? These young bucks just care about the O. I love this comment. And this makes me happy, like a comment like this. It warms my heart because I know the chat is intelligent. It's an intelligent chat. And, that's what I'm saying. I get knocked out, I still want the Haney fight. I get knocked out, I still want the Lomachenko fight. Whatever, just whatever. You could take a lighter touch in between those, but you want the fights? I'm a fan. I always leave open the door that I'll become a fan of a fighter. Like Ryan's one of those guys. If Ryan fights Tank, and then he fights Haney, and then he fights whoever, Regis, I'm a fan. I don't care what his record ends up being. Who cares? I'm not one of these right here. Leave Ryan alone. Leave Tank alone. They just, they're trying their best. They're trying their best. I don't care. I don't care about any of that. Yeah, but they got you leave him alone. Leave him alone. I'm not that type of fan. I'm a fan of the sport, and whoever gives me the best fight, whatever fighter aligns with my values as a boxing fan, that's who I'm going to support. Tank will for sure go back to fighting cans. The man is a lightweight. Jamal, is Tank's resume really that much better than Boo Boo Andre's? I mean, a little bit. Did you mention Boo Boo Andre? Did you mention Boo? Who did this? Who did that? You're saving your virginity for Canelo too? This is one of the funniest memes I've ever seen in my life. You're saving your virginity for Canelo too? I cannot believe. I still can't believe. Every day I come on here, I cannot believe that there are people out there politicking for these two dudes to get a fight with Canelo. I can't believe it. I'm just blown away by it. I'm just blown away by it. There are actually people out there politicking for these two dudes to get a fight with Canelo. One of them, magically, in a belts gone wild world we live in. I mean, this dude hasn't fought in 650 days. Plus, I think it's 660 at this point. 660, this dude Maul hasn't fought. And he's still got a belt. It's hilarious. This sport is so hilarious. This dude hasn't fought in 660 days. And there are people out there calling for this dude to get a shot at Canelo. It's amazing. It's amazing. And they're up in arms that he's fighting John Ryder. Oh, my God. He's fighting a dude with 2 top 10 super middleweights in 2022. He should have fought Boo Boo and Jamal. And Jamal is just sitting at home. Jamal, he's got to be shocked. Jamal's got to be at home shocked. He's got to be at home, like he logs onto Twitter every once in a while, and he said, there are actually people. Like, dude, I haven't fought in 2 years. There are actually people out there who think I should have a belt still, number one. And there are people who think I should fight in a $50 million, $60 million, $70 million super fight when I haven't fought in 2 years. It's amazing. And I didn't even look good in my last fight. Who are these people? I love these people. I need to send them care packages. And then Boo Boo's out there. He hasn't done a thing in his career, and he's the only person I've ever seen in boxing history who's ducked 2 fighters simultaneously twice in the same calendar year. That's what we're dealing with. I'm trying not to be negative today. Best for boxing is everyone fighting each other regardless of losses. Agreed. The lack of power is Shakur's Achilles heel. Someone's going to try to walk him down and test his chin. That's going to happen. And I thought Zepeda would be that guy, but Zepeda turned down the fight, or Zepeda's promoter turned down the fight. And that was disappointing to me because Shakur wanted the fight. Shakur wanted that fight. Shakur wanted the Kambosos fight. There's another one. Oh, Pitbull. That's another one. Like, Pitbull is another guy who could try to throw things at the wall to see how Shakur deals with pressure. He turned down the fight. So when I see 3 guys at a certain level turn down a fight with the guy, I got to say, how do we judge fighters? What have we said in the past? We judge fighters by two things, like how are their handlers handling their career? Are they aggressive? Are they, sort of not aggressive? Are they cautious? Tank, his handlers are very cautious with his career. Shakur, they're aggressive. They'll fight anybody. And the second way we can tell who a fighter is by how do his peers in and around the weight class react when his name is brought up. You got guys screaming from the mountaintop saying they want to fight Tank. Shakur, they offer the fight to Zepeda. Nah. They offer the fight to Pitbull. Nah. Pitbull was happy to get the fight with Tank. They mentioned Shakur. No. Cambosos. Nah. Don't want it. Just saying. While all these professional boxers and many fans put Tank on this kind of pedestal when he really hasn't been proven. I don't know. Tank's resume only looks good on name alone because when you look at the weights in previous fights, they ain't all that. Slick Rick. 9K tickets not sold isn't good. He could have had the fights in a college gym. He'll eventually block you as he did me. He throws the bull slick talk to his fighters and they believe him, but we know better. Yeah, and I don't care if he blocks me. That's fine. But if he's representing me and he's throwing out terms like this, like if he's representing me and you see stuff like this, like what is that? What in the world is that? Like I can handle this. I've seen this before. I've seen power brokers throw stuff at me and just, well, if you want to see your favorite fighter fight, he's got to be on pay-per-view. No. There's no pay-per-view level fight. It's just, whatever we make up. If we need to do it economically, it's a pay-per-view. There's no pay-per-view level fight. I can deal with that. And I can deal with this. Like, you're a clown. I've gotten that before. It's fine. Every free ticket. I knew he was going to throw out some complex stuff if he was going to react. Every free ticket. And by the way, you see the tweet here. I'm not even mentioning him by name. I mean, I'm not even mentioning him. I'm not even trying to get his attention. And then he finds this tweet, calls me a clown, no facts, and then throws out some gibberish. There's nothing here. Fortune 100 and 500 companies. What are you talking about? Fortune 100, 500 bull tickets, 100, 200K, 30 tickets for 50K in a deal. No, you didn't make that type of deal. There's nobody stupid enough to buy 30 tickets for 50K. That's just stupid. Nobody believes that. I don't know. I don't know. Why would you pay that? Who's paying that? Like I said, whoever's paying that, please get me their information. I want to sell them stuff. I have stuff that I'm willing to sell them. Please get me their information. If you're paying $5K for a Jose Ramirez fight ticket against Comey in Northern California, give me their information, please. For the love of God. Those numbers are for tax purposes. Maresian is a crook or a liar, likely both. Yeah, I was going to say, I did the math, and that 5K a ticket almost, I couldn't even pay that to watch myself fight. When boxers avoid competitive fights, they also avoid big paychecks. And you're right, long term. Long term. Tank should be a bigger star than he is. Even Tank with 2 or 3 losses would be a bigger star than he is if they would have just promoted his career properly. And you'll have people out there saying, look at how big this fight is. Look what Al is doing for him. Look what Steven's doing for him. Look how big this. Just imagine how big the fight would have been. Imagine how big it would have been. Would have been huge. If they would have just promoted this guy's career, he could have been an American superstar. He's not. They're lying to you. He could have been a face of boxing. He's not. They're lying to you. But he could have been had they promoted this guy correctly. But they are afraid to unleash him. And there's a reason they're afraid to unleash him. Perhaps we find out why April 22nd. Perhaps not. Perhaps Ryan's not the guy to get that out of him. Perhaps a weight drain, Ryan's not the guy that's going to get that out of him. Perhaps they're not going to allow somebody to climb in the ring who will get that out of them. We don't find out who people truly are unless they're in an uncomfortable position, a compromised position. That's when we find out who people truly are. Do you really believe what you say when it's hard for you to believe what you say? We don't know who these fighters are until they're in an uncomfortable fight. We knew who Floyd was before he fought Oscar. We knew who Manny was before he fought Oscar. We knew. We don't know who a lot of these fighters are due to inactivity and other things. And I'm about to get into inactivity. Ramirez doing better than the Niners or Warriors. Marizan could teach them a lesson, right? Catch weight for a belt, Calix. He beat Cotto at 145, not 147. I understand, but he still beat him. He still beat him. I didn't like the catch weight either. And I've called Cotto out on that, Canelo. So people aren't going to get me on some hypocrisy on calling out Tank because I called out those things too. But the win is still the win. I remember, right, Pac versus Cotto was at the catch weight. That's right. Gabe Rosado is the modern-day Chop Corley, the most professional and successful journeyman of this era. Everyone wants him on their resume. A bad undercard kills the vibe at a pay-per-view fight party. Promoters got to stay consistent with competitive undercards. It'll pay off. Don King had an excellent rep UFC nowadays. Yep, and that's why UFC is getting the type of deals that they're getting. Is Bud Spence dead on arrival? They should have been more active, and this should have been a trilogy already years ago. You know what? And I like Ring. I'm about to actually bring up Ring Magazine with rankings and pound for pound and all that good stuff. I like their ranking system. I like their writers. I like their editors. But when I saw, you know what I did when I saw this report that came out yesterday that Ring is saying, sources say Bud and Spence are going to fight June 17th. I just kept scrolling. I was just on my phone. I saw it. Scroll. Don't care. Don't care. And it's not that I don't care about the fight. It's I don't believe them at this point. Not Ring, like the sources, and not the sources. It's the people trying to structure this fight. I don't believe them. They may give us the fight. They likely give us the fight at some point, right? I think it'll happen at some point. June 17th, not June 17th. It's just at this point, it's threadbare. That should have happened 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. Now we're into 2023, and it's what we still got. And I'm asking, why do we still have it? I'm tired of it. I just kept scrolling. It's like I don't. It does nothing for me. Now the fight, I'm going to be excited about the fight. I'm going to be excited about the fight once it gets there, but not until they actually get in the ring, because I just don't believe you at this point. I don't believe it at this point. Let me pull up, speaking of Ring, let me bring this up. Let me pull up 147, first of all. Look how atrocious this is. Welterweight division. And let me make sure y'all are seeing this real quick. And y'all should be seeing that. Let me get that comment down. But this is the welterweight, W-A-I-T division. I've been over this. I don't want to sound redundant, but these top two guys have been the top two guys for 5 years, and it's just not there. And it's the inactivity I want to bring up because I want to keep highlighting inactivity and why we don't have American stars. It's the current part-time model is not going to allow it. And inactivity, by extension, is not going to allow it because Errol Spence Jr., he's a marketable guy. He's a marketable guy. He's a guy that should be a big name. He's a marketable guy. And why is he not a big name? Why is he not a household name? It's simply because before the Ugas fight, he hadn't fought in 16 months, fellas. And since then, he hasn't fought in what? 12 months. It's been a year and still nothing. Bud Crawford, as much as I love Bud Crawford as a fighter, for the love of God, the inactivity. He hadn't fought in a while before the Evanesian fight. He didn't capitalize on the momentum he had going after the Porter fight. And now it's been what since the Evanesian fight? Over 4 months, almost 5 months, and still nothing announced. Boots Ennis, we've been over that. We've been over the Boots Ennis stuff. His dad's out there saying, no, we actually don't have a contract with Showtime. We could actually go wherever we want. We just don't want to. And they're complaining about not getting fights. Virgil Ortiz, unfortunately, illness. The Stanionis fight was going to be good. Ugas, it's been 12 months. Once again, 12 months. Keith Thurman, where the hell is he? And how the hell is he still in anybody's top 10? He's a full-time yoga person now. He's not a fighter. Like, Keith Thurman is not a fighter. Can somebody look up when the last time Keith Thurman fought? When is the last time Keith? I know he fought Matteo Barrios, but when was that? I don't even remember. It was such a forgettable fight, and he hasn't fought since, that nobody's even looking for this dude anymore. And I mean, the bottom of this division, it is what it is. Butayev, Evanesian, Crowley. I mean, but a division like that, man, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. But even worse than that, because the pound for pound list is representative of the sport. That's the fighters we should be going out there and looking for, right? Those are the fighters we should be looking for, and we should be spreading like the gospel, the good news of the pound for pound list, so everybody can see who these pound for pound fighters are, and we need them active for the fighters in boxing to be healthy. And this is what we got. I love Usyk, love Inoue, love Crawford. Where have they been? Inoue, we're not going to see him till July. Usyk, who knows? Crawford, who knows? Spence, who knows? The first person we will see on the pound for pound list will be in month 5. It will be Canelo Alvarez. You should never, ever, 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 ever go 4 months without seeing a pound for pound fighter. In particular, you should never go the first 4 months of a calendar year without seeing a pound for pound fighter. It should never happen. Dmitry Bivol, who knows? Lomachenko, we're going to see him in May. Josh Taylor, we'll see him in June. Mel Charlo, he's not fighting anytime soon. It'll likely be the fall. Gallo Estrada, who knows? But we have, fellas, we have 2 fighters on this list. Let's say 3, Inoue in July. 3 fighters on this list with something planned. The other 7 have nothing planned, and they haven't fought yet this calendar year. That simply can't happen. It simply can't happen. It's embarrassing. In the last 5 complete years, DSG fought 7 times. Win or lose, DSG actually fought people. He ducked some, of course, but he still fought top guys every once in a while. And he became a household name because he fought guys, right? It was Amir Khan. It was Lucas Matisse. He put himself in danger. He came out of that unscathed and became a star, or somewhat of. February 22. That's the last time Keith Thurman fought, 14 months. How is this dude still on divisional rankings? You haven't fought in 14 months. You're not an active fighter. You should not be in rankings. But that's the problem, is we're getting to a point where half of these dudes on rankings shouldn't be on rankings because they're simply not active. Inactivity. It's disgusting. Most of these top guys in the rings welterweight division haven't even fought each other. They haven't. Like 6 undefeated fighters in the rankings. That signals that these guys simply aren't fighting each other. Some people, like I've said, that's a litmus test. Some people will see 6 to 7 undefeated fighters in the top 10 and say that's a strong division. What I see, what I say when I see that, bleh, bleh, it's disgusting. It makes me want to throw up. Spence hasn't fought in a year. He hasn't. So I don't know what to do with that. Activity absolutely matters. It absolutely matters. And Tim Tszyu gets that, right? Because Tim Tszyu says, look, Mel pulls out of the fight due to injury. I'm going to fight Harrison. And then they go and they try to work with Mel's team for the fight in the summer. And Mel's team says, we're not going to be ready. We're not going to be ready for the summer. So what does Tim Tszyu and his team say? We're going to fight another fight in Australia while you're waiting. While you're laid up with the injury, I'm going to fight again. He's not waiting around. His team is not dumb to wait around because Mel may not be ready in the spring, in the fall. They don't want to waste time, but they also want to keep him sharp. And when you have confidence in your fighter, you can keep your fighter sharp. You can put him in danger. They put him in danger of losing to Harrison and messing up the Mel fight for Undisputed. And people are going to revise history. Oh, it's just Harrison. People were picking, a lot of people were picking Harrison to beat Tim Tszyu, and he simply didn't do it. When you have confidence in your fighter, you can put him in harm's way as a manager, as a promoter, unlike this guy right here. Unlike this guy who would put his guy at home against Comey and lie to people about trying to work out a deal for a title fight with Regis Prograis. A guy like this will lie while he protects his fighter. A guy like this will lie about what he's doing behind the scenes, how much money and revenue he's bringing his fighter in order to protect his fighter, and try to sell his fighter as a star, even though it's not true, while protecting his fighter from top fighters within the division. And this is sad to me because I like Jose Ramirez as a fighter. I liked what was going on with Jose Ramirez. But when you turn down a title fight because you want to get married and have a long honeymoon, fair enough, fair enough. That's what you want to do, fair enough. Regis Prograis wouldn't make that move, and he stated that, but fair enough. But don't come back after that honeymoon when Regis Prograis now has the belt, and you know the split was 65-35, and you knew they could go to Regis Prograis' team and work something out before that purse split came up. They could have worked up 60-40, 50-50, whatever the number is. They knew this when they turned down the original title fight. He could have took the title fight, won the title fight against the guy he already beat, and he could have had the 65% split at home and told Regis Prograis, take it or leave it. But instead, he turns it down to get married and have a honeymoon. Fair enough, but you got to realize that you give up leverage in the process. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the excuses. When you have a dude like this representing you who will throw out terms like this to boxing, it's just boxing fans, dude. It's just boxing. You could have ignored that. You could have let that go. You could have ignored that. When you throw out stuff like this, it's like, dude, if I had a dude like this, imagine how bad that looks. That just looks bad. You have a dude like this representing you. A dude like this representing your career, and we're supposed to trust the process? Nah. I'm not trusting this process, I can tell you that. And then he just deletes it like it's going to go away. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. 2007 top welterweights. Mayweather, Mosley, Cotto, Williams, Judah, Quintana, Clottey, Margarito, Cintron versus today's top 10. Who you got? I got that one. It may have taken a while, but Mayweather fought Mosley and Cotto, right? And Judah. May have taken a while. We finally got, Mayweather Pacquiao. It was disgusting. But Pacquiao is on this list a couple years later. But that was strong. Cotto fights Mosley. Cotto fights Mayweather. Cotto fights Judah. Clottey, Quintana, Margarito. I mean, he fought like Cotto was. Cotto's such an undervalued fighter, man. Williams fought Quintana twice. I mean, Williams would have fought anybody. Williams fought Margarito. Williams had to go up a weight class or two to fight other top opposition because guys were running from the hills from him. So I'll take that one. I don't know. Oh, you just hate modern fighters. For the love of God, can one of them fight each other? Like, can one fight the other one, please? Please? Pretty please. Do something. Do something, welterweight division. Do something. Stop waiting around. Do something. Fight somebody. No Zepeda and no Regis. No one wanted to see him against Comey. Ramirez is falling fast and hard, and that's the sad part. What do I always bring up? When do fighters lose their bases? It's when they stop behaving like themselves. If you build a base organically, the media, nobody, boxing fans behaving stupid on Twitter, they're not going to disconnect you from your fans. Only you can do that because you built it. The media can't tear down Canelo. Canelo's detractors here on YouTube and on Twitter cannot tear down Canelo, and they cannot split him from his base. And losses to other fighters cannot split Canelo from his base. I'm tired. I'm sorry for sounding like a broken record and bringing up Canelo again, but it's the best example of this. He built a base over time. He widened his base. He kept his base for a certain reason, and he widened it and brought more people under the tent. If Canelo could fight a non-UK fighter in the UK right now and sell out a soccer stadium, he can fight a non-Japanese fighter in Japan and sell out an arena. He can. We know what he can do in Mexico. We know what he can do in Vegas. Any arena. We know what he can do in Dallas. We know he can sell anywhere because he widened his base over time. And that's why I don't believe people when they say whoever wins this fight can be face of boxing. Canelo is going to be the face of boxing as long as he's in boxing. Period. Point blank, period. Denying that is like denying gravity. It's going to happen. As long as he behaves like Canelo, he will be the face of boxing. He will be the cash cow. He will be the star. That's undeniable. And why? Because he continues to behave like Canelo. He had a nice built-in base. I will give people that. I watched my female cousin in the movie theater react to Canelo when he was coming out to fight Baldomir early on the Sergio Mora, Shane Mosley undercard. And I said that, and I said, this is the new Oscar De La Hoya. This is a new golden boy. But you got to be able to keep that base over time like Oscar did just by simply fighting the fights. Win or lose, people are going to be invested in you. They're going to be emotionally invested in you. And Canelo is the best example of that. You're not going to split him from the base. Chavez Jr. split himself from the base. Chavez Jr. had the same built-in base as Canelo, even bigger, even stronger, because he had the name. He had the name with Jr. behind it. But what happened? Those numbers dwindled and dwindled and dwindled. He never gained a base outside of Mexico, number one. And number two, he lost his Mexican fans. Why? Because the dude is moving furniture over to do pads for the Sergio Martinez fight in a living room. He's walking around with pink Speedos on, jumping in the pool while his dad is trying to give him instruction for the fight. And his dad's looking at him like, how is this my son? How is this my son? I wish Canelo was my son. Imagine your dad saying things like that about you. But he lost his base simply by behaving like a guy that they did not expect. His base did him to behave that way. He had good wins at middleweight, but after that, he stopped behaving like himself. He's got prostitutes in the room robbing him, sniffing cocaine. People are like, he doesn't even care about his career. Why do I care about this? I don't care about the name anymore. I'll just go watch his dad's old fights. Canelo keeps his base. He keeps his base. And the sad thing about this is Jose Ramirez had a base who we knew what to expect of Jose Ramirez. We knew, like, this is a guy who's going to fight title fights, fight unifications, and then fighting on this. Josh Taylor, who cares? He lost. Josh Taylor's a great fighter. He lost to him. He made it there, though. He fell short. Let's see if he can climb his way back. You give him the Zepeda fight. But then after that, the things start to mount, and you're like, this isn't the dude. This isn't a fighter I fell in love with. This isn't the fighter that I was following 2-3 years ago. Why am I going to invest time in this? He simply stopped behaving like Jose Ramirez. And when you have a manager like this going at boxing fans, just simply boxing fans. These are boxing fans. These aren't journalists. When you got a manager like this doing work like this for you in your name, he is representing you. And he's specifically representing you in this tweet, defending you and defending you in this way. That's certainly not going to help things. Simply not going to help things. So fighters of how they behave, how their representation behaves in their name. If they want to keep their fan bases, that's what they got to do. They need to earn your fanhood. Cloudy fought Margot, Zab, Corrales, Pacquiao. 2007, 2008 was wild for the welterweights. It was. That was a great time. It was a great time to be alive. It was a great time to be alive. I don't believe Cloudy fought Margarito. Cotto versus Margarito was good. It was. Slick Rick represents Zepeda, Ramirez, and Barboza. It's not a coincidence how things are shaping up for them lately. Yeah. Today's fans say Chavez fought nothing but tomato cans every other month. I say he honed his skills versus fighters of every style in between championship fights better to stay active. And it's what the modern day boxing fans, when they try to use those as examples, just like they try to use Yildirim as an example for Cotto. For Canelo, it's not going to work. It simply doesn't work because you look at the activity level. And they're still fighting more championship fights, more big fights with activity in between them than their peers. So they're more active and they're still fighting bigger fights and better fights. It just doesn't work with people who know better. It just doesn't work. On that note, I'll see y'all tomorrow. We're going to be talking about Shakur's fight coming up this weekend and Bam Rodriguez's return as well. God bless. Peace.